Hello everyone and welcome back to the Priesthood Dispatches channel. PD here, and it's the 25th of February 2022. As always, if you're new to the channel or returning, please give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button just down here, and share it wherever you feel comfortable. Let's get to it.
Welcome to the world of Priesthood Dispatches, where we tell your stories from the front lines of high-demand religion.
This is episode 2 of Multi-Level Missionary, The Call. This is the 5th or 6th time I've tried to record this episode, so please forgive me if I include some sections which have slightly dodgy audio. I've had just a nightmare with technology this week. Now then, today's episode is about my mission call and some background as to what happened before that call and why that call was slightly peculiar or odd. 19 years of background, in fact, but we're going to shrink it all the way down. But we're going to start in the place where all TBMs start, the pre-earth life. Me and Sister PD used to joke that we were together in the pre-earth life and that we covenanted there, that we'd be married in this life, that we'd go on to have children, and then in the eternities we would create our own planets and have multiple spirit babies. Also, the joke was that me being the gentleman, I allowed Sister PD to go to Earth first, and in the early 1980s this came to pass. Proper Mormon phrase there. Allowing Sister PD to go first meant that she was born 9 days before myself, and we both landed here in the UK. We'd obviously been good, but not quite good enough to land in Utah. Sister PD is here in the northern city of Bradford, and I was blessed to land here 60 miles south, just north of the city of Nottingham. So, having put on our new skin and completed much of our younger living, we met in the middle at the age of 16 at a church dance here in the city of Sheffield. I'd like to say it was a great meeting of galaxies, that sparks flew, that our hearts became one, but really it was a bit of a damp squib. I wanted to talk to some other girls, but needed to warm up. I needed to start with an easy win, so I decided I would turn around and talk to the first girl I saw, and that happened to be Sister PD, and she told me to do one. But over the next few months we went to church dances in the north of England, and I saw her around. Eventually she gave in to my charm to make another boy jealous. Haha, more fool you, young lady. 21 years later, here we are. I hope that boy is very jealous. Now then, from the age of 16 we spent a lot of time here in the north of England, and you can see I've just put on this lovely baby's arm kind of phallic shaped stomping ground map here, where you can see we spent a lot of time between the North Yorkshire coast all the way down through Yorkshire to Nottingham. Also during this time my bishop called me in at the age of 17 to begin preparing my mission papers. Pulled the papers out, began writing my name on them, and in the classic move of putting the cart before the horse, then asked me if I was planning on serving a mission, to which I said no. He asked why, and I said that I didn't believe the church was true, and I didn't want to waste 2 years of my time. So, you might ask, why did you serve a mission, PD? Let me tell you. The reasons are threefold: family pressure, relationship pressure, and cultural pressure. None of those being a testimony, or that I wanted to. So let's get right to it. Relationship pressure. Me and Sister PD had both been raised on the teaching that an eternal temple marriage was the only acceptable marriage, and as a brother in that marriage I had to be a return missionary. We'd been together for 3 years and things were, you could say, serious, and we wanted to move forward with our relationship, but knew that the big stumbling block in the way was the 2-year mission.
Hi everyone, this is 18-year-old me. 18-year-old me is independent and confident and knows what she wants and has a plan how she's going to get it. Fair to say that being Mrs. PD was not part of the plan. I grew up in the church, but I had a non-member father, and I think that always made me feel a little bit different to the other youth in the church. I was never going to be the bishop's daughter. I was never going to be the state president's daughter. I had attended Young Women's and I had recited on a weekly basis the Young Women's theme that I would make and keep sacred covenants. I had decided that I was going to change my path and that I would have the best for me, the best for my husband and the best for my future children. So of course, this meant marrying a returned missionary and being sealed in the temple.
Family pressure. My dad had joined the church when he was 17 and served a 2-year mission at the age of 19 as the only member in his family. So that was a really big thing for him to do. I'm the 5th of 6 children. My 2 older brothers and 1 older sister had all served the mission. I was going to be Elder PD the 4th, and my younger brother, who I was to set the example for, was going to be Elder PD the 5th. Cultural pressure. Now, a lot of you probably experience this exact same thing, but when a young man chooses not to serve a mission, or at least when I went on a mission, the only reasons for him not to serve a mission were threefold. 1, that there was something physically wrong with him. 2, that there was something mentally wrong. Or 3, that there was something spiritually wrong. What sin had he committed? There was never any consideration given to positive reasons that you might not serve a mission, because according to the church, there are no positive reasons for not serving a mission. So, I was to be squeezed out the door of the family home with a pat on the back and sent on my way to burn shoe leather for Jesus. During the early noughties, the church were trying to convince the population here in the UK that it was not an American church. To do this, they were sending poor UK missionaries to UK destinations. As if we didn't get enough of the rain and wind in the first 19 years of our life, they were now going to make us spend 2 years knocking on doors in the rain. So I anticipated before my call that at least 2 UK missions were off limits to me. The England Birmingham mission, where I lived, and the England Leeds mission, where Sister PD lived. Now let me show you a quick example here. If we looked at the rough boundaries of the England Leeds mission, you'll see why the bishop and the state president made the recommendation that I not serve there. Okay, here are the rough boundaries of the England Leeds mission, the eastern half of northern England, but you can see within that mission is Sister PD and many of our friends and family. But just how close was the mission? If we zoom in here, you can see a little line. I've taken this exact line from LDS map, which shows where I grew up in the family home and the mission boundary. To the south and west of this boundary, we have the England Birmingham mission. To the north and east, we have the England Leeds mission. And wouldn't you know it, the boundary goes just around the village that I grew up in and schooled in, etc. And if we do a quick measurement, we can see that the boundary is approximately 1.8 miles as the crow flies from the family home. So the papers were with Salt Lake and the call was happening. An apostle of God was seeing Elder PD stood on the corner of his mission, knowing exactly where that was in the world and sending out the call. And that call finally arrived in June of 2003, and here it is. 17 years later, Sister PD has saved this envelope. It's slightly worse for wear, but within it held the future, or at least for the next 2 years. So let's take a look. Here it is. Now, there was no great fanfare when I was opening my mission call. There was no gathering of the family. It was just me and my parents. I think I was just sat in a t-shirt and my boxer shorts on the living room couch. Dear Elder PD, you are hereby called to serve as a missionary of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You are assigned to labour in the England Leeds mission. My mother, my parents weren't exactly happy, and thus began the process of kicking against the pricks. My parents were not impressed and quite rightly felt that the call was inappropriate. So they went to the stake president, who went to the area presidency, who went back to the missionary department and raised the concern. They then went to the mission president and raised the concern, and he said that they should change the call. At which point they said to the mission president, if we change the call, you will have an odd number of elders for a couple of transfers. The mission president then told them to not change the call because he didn't want an odd number, to just send me and that he would deal with it. His way of dealing with it was to place extra restrictions upon me over and above those in the White Handbook, so that I would not be able to serve in areas too close to home or family. So I wasn't just called to the England Leeds mission, I was only called to parts of the England Leeds mission. I hope that apostle that saw me standing on the street corner only saw me standing on the street corner in certain parts of that mission. I think my parents appealed the call twice and were patted on the head by the brethren and told to pipe down. Like any good boyfriend, I got straight in the car and drove north to Sister PD to give her the news. I met her after work in Bradford, gave her the news, and she was shocked but happy. It wasn't till I asked her the other day that I learned of her internal reaction. So let's hear from Sister PD now.
So as the mission call comes for PD to serve in the England Leeds mission for a period of 24 months, after my initial surprise, I took on the role that I told myself I would, no matter where he was going, even though I could tell he was a little disappointed to be staying in the country. But we both believed in the prophet and in the calling of missionaries to where they needed to be. So as my role as the supportive and positive girlfriend, I encouraged and I reassured, and I told him, you will be great wherever you serve. There was some talk of maybe PD's mission call going back and being reassessed to go somewhere else. But in the back of my mind, I thought that could take another 3 to 6 months. That's not something I want to do. I don't want to delay him going away for that length of time, as it means that just delays the start of our life by that same period of time, waiting for him to get back. We joked about how being close to each other would have its benefits, especially for him, as I would be able to send him more expensive and bigger presents at Christmas and birthdays, as the postage would be cheaper. So the 2 years that PD served as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the England Leeds mission from 2003 to 2005 are an interesting and special 2 years. And I, along with PD, am excited to watch the MLM episodes unfold, and I think that we will both learn something about ourselves from this experience. Perhaps it's fair to say that in those 2 years, we were not always honest with each other, because you are trying to protect the other one and support them whilst you are apart from each other. Do I believe that our 2 years apart made us stronger? Keep coming back to find out the answer.
Also with the call was this lovely little pack. The church had really pushed the boat out, obviously. And what's the famous line?
Where's a map?
Church sent me a lovely map of the England Leeds mission. Another important life milestone pre-mission is the temple. You must go and do your thing. I took the temple preparation classes, but they didn't seem to prepare me much for what I was about to encounter. So I did what all young people were doing at the time. I turned to the one source of information that could answer my questions instantly, that being the internet. In just searching the word Mormonism, I came up with 3 issues. First was the Salamander letter. Second was the fact that Mary had literal sex with our Heavenly Father in order to conceive Jesus. And thirdly, handshakes to get into heaven. I went to my mother about these, and she went to the bishop, who sat me down and explained that the Salamander letter was BS, that Mary they weren't too sure about, and that I'd learn more about the other thing when I went to the temple. So that's what I did, and here's my little temple card from the 19th of July 2003. Out of respect for TBM family members that may be watching this, hola, I won't say my temple name, but I'm sure if you went on the church's list of names, because everyone gets the same one on the same day, that you will find it from the 19th of July 2003. Sister PD was really important in my preparation. My parents did their best, but they were very busy introducing EFY, or FSY as it is, to the UK and Europe, and the week-long EFY was to take place a couple of days after I entered the MTC. So they were very busy, but Sister PD had me sorted. Another amazing thing that Sister P did is here. Boom! The T-book, or testimony book as some people call them. She made this and covered it in a lot of the fun things that we did before my mission. Some of you will noticed there's an old school badge on the top here. This was the badge of my oldest brother, who also served in the England Leeds mission. It was interesting that the church, having 300 missions around the world, managed to send 4 brothers to only 2 missions. Me and my oldest brother went to the England Leeds mission, and my other 2 brothers went to Canada Calgary. You can see who the favourites were from their actions in the pre-earth life. But in this book, at the farewell, lots of people filled out their testimonies, and lots of it's the same. A lot of people, it is what it says on the tin, it's a testimony book. So there are a lot of testimonies in it. But the one thing that kind of affected me the most looking back through this was the entry from a family member that would die whilst I was away on my mission. And it was someone I was really close to, my grandmother on my father's side. Dear PD, I will miss you, and I will still be here waiting when you come back. I love you very much. I will keep in touch with you, and I really love you as a grandson. Have fun on your mission and reach so many. I love you, Gran. I never got to say. We can see Sister PD's 2-page entry. She was an overachiever. Where she speaks much about the relationship pressures in a happy way that we were facing, that this was something we had to get out of the way. And finally, it was time for my farewell. The first time in life, I think, when everyone gets around and reminisces about the good person you are and the good life that you've lived up to this point. Now that I think about it, it's a little bit like a funeral, especially when the closing hymn is God be with you till we meet again. I guess the only benefit was that I got out of there alive. Here's a little picture of me and my oldest brother, my dad, and my 2 brother-in-laws and 2 random missionaries at my farewell. So that was it. Episode 2 of Multi-Level Mormon Missionary, The Call. Next week, we will be entering the Preston MTC here in England, and we will be going over the first week in the MTC. So that's it from me for this episode. Please like and subscribe, hit the bell button so you don't miss an episode, and share wherever you feel comfortable. The more the merrier. If you feel you can support the podcast, please do so by using the link in the description below. But for now, from me and from Sister PD, see ya.
PD. PD. I can't do PD.
It's it. I can't do PD. PD.
I need it in like a phrase.
For
PD.
I love PD.
I love PD.
There you go.